This is a podcast about just opinions.
Hey, yo, this is what it is. This is what I think.
We all have kind of outlandish takes.
Like, don't at me.
If there's other free form stuff that comes with it, we cover that too.
Hey, hold on real quick. Hold on. Pause.
Don't at me, Joc.
Don't at me, Mike. Another episode. What is episode 20?
We're at a quarter now.
Yeah. Oh, man. Quarter.
We're at a George Washington.
That's amazing.
Right? He's on the quarter, right?
Yeah, he is.
He's also on the dollar bill. Dollar bill, yo.
Yeah, it was a good movie, by the way.
Which one? Dead Presidents?
Dead Presidents, yes. Mm-hmm.
Classic.
Yeah.
Lorenz Tate.
Lorenz.
I don't know. I never understood why Lorenz Tate didn't end up being more. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like gotten more serious movies. I feel you. He always had, like, to me, serious moments in a lot of movies as far as, you know, a lot of ethnic movies growing up. Boys in the Hood, Menace.
O-Dog.
Yeah, exactly. But it was never movies to where he got to like that Denzel or Samuel Jackson status, where it's big movies, you know. So
Yeah, he kind of was like the hood movie prototype, you know.
Right,
like he was in those. Last thing I remember him in was Crash. Do you remember Crash?
I do. Actually, the last thing that he was actually in was
He
Power.
always goes out sad.
Was Power. It's a
for
show.
real?
Yeah, you heard of Power before.
Yeah, I know Power.
So he's
I just
actually
haven't watched it.
Yeah, he's been in that heavy, and he's going to be in the next season that's coming off, like a spinoff, which is pretty dope. So he's still doing things here and there.
So you said you've got some feedback. People want like intros, you know. So it also gave me some thoughts about how we can format this a little bit more, you know, structured a little bit better than what we have.
Yeah.
So people know specifically what we're talking about, where in the podcast, you know, future ideas. We can brand specific sections and segments, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So starting out the intro, Mike Silva, of course.
Jacquees Castle, the one and only.
We should call it the roll call.
Yeah, we should call it the roll call. Also, we have Gerry and Chance. They're not here today on this episode.
All right, we'll vet it out. All right, roll call. Mike Silva, here.
Jacquees Castle.
Here.
Oh. Jacquees Castle, here.
Chance, Gerry, absent. Yeah. All right, we'll test it out. We'll chew on it, see what it tastes like.
Yeah.
But first thing we wanted to do was get into current events and pop culture. And, of course, the thing that we've been talking about a lot in the group chat has been the one and only Love is Blind.
First of all,
what was your first exposure to it?
you and Alex actually told me about it.
Oh, Alex told you to. He jumped back in on the group chat when he saw Love is Blind.
Well, no, he told me before you actually, because him and his girlfriend watches the show like religiously.
Well, I figured he did because he jumped into the group chat. He never says anything in that group chat.
Exactly right. So that has to tell you that it is a good show for him to jump in the group chat because he, like you said, he doesn't really talk a lot in that chat. But I don't like reality shows, but this one it's a little different. It's fucking funny.
Oh man,
it's hilarious to me.
So my first exposure to it, Emily was watching it. I was in Seattle for work, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm watching this show," and I'm like, "Whatever." I kind of blew it off,
Right.
and I was watching The Soup. You know, I talked about that actually. We talked about work travel in the last episode. I was watching The Soup, and they showed scenes from that, and I was like, "What is this stupid show?" And then Emily started sending me memes of it. And I'm like, yo, this was that shit on The Soup. So finally, come back home. You know, she's watching, I think it's like episode 3 or 4 or something like that. So that's why I picked it up.
You thought it was like stupid from afar, right?
Well, I thought it would be entertaining because Netflix was doing it. So you don't have like they're not going to censor it. They're not going to, do anything.
And side note, that's what I actually enjoy the most about the show.
Yeah, it's uncensored.
It's uncensored. So you hear fuck, shit, whatever. It's just raw.
Right. Now they don't, I mean, there's no nudity, but like imagine if they started on certain shows like having like little bits of it, that'd be more viewers.
Yeah,
but
you got to bring viewers in. I wouldn't be surprised.
So I'm watching it 3.5 episodes in, and I'm like, man, this is trippy. Like, it's entertaining.
First off,
drama.
Let's tell them the premise of the actual show.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So the premise of the show is you're supposed to actually find your wife or husband within the span of, I think, 34 days or 35 days.
No, they get married 36 days after the shit starts.
Right, 36 days. So it's like a little bit over a month.
It's 5 weeks.
Exactly, which is extremely quick. So that's when I thought, man, this shit is not real. It's stupid. But I digress. So basically what the show's about, you have these pods. in the beginning of the show, which you go inside the pod and you're actually just talking to another person, like going on dates, so you don't even know what they look like at all. That part I think is actually dope because you are getting to know them as a person. You're supposed to. Then that's when you decide, like, okay, do I want to propose to this person? It could be a span of how many days it takes. So then they propose to whoever they feel they make a connection with. Then after that's when shit gets real, because you see the person you see the person who you were talking to, and some of the reactions is fucking hilarious. Like, I won't spoil it for you guys, but it's pretty funny, and the things just kind of like amp up a little bit after that.
The other part of it too, I don't know about you, but I can hear a voice and probably guess pretty accurately what somebody looks like. Like, not like facial features, but I could probably tell
if somebody's ethnic.
That, but like I also mean, like, I don't know. I mean, you can tell by somebody's voice if it's going to be like larger stature, shorter stature, and I don't mean like chubby. I mean, because that's hard to pick up actually sometimes. Yeah. I'm talking more like, oh, this sounds like a powerful voice. This person might be bigger than me. Maybe, I mean, taller maybe too. Right. You know.
You know what's funny? Actually, I know it was one lady on there, African American woman. And she was talking to this Caucasian guy, and he was like,
"Are you black?
Are you black? You sound like you're black." And she was like, "What?"
The way he did it was a little bit more insensitive.
Very like, what the fuck, bro? Why would you say that? And she was like, "No, I'm actually white." She got in her white voice, and he was like, "Really? You're white? Really?" Like, got excited. So it just, you got to watch the show, man. It's fucking ridiculous.
Man, that show is ridiculous. But the best part, I feel like they literally were casting the dudes, and they're like, who are the most beta dudes we can find?
Facts.
I feel like every dude on that is like very cuckish, and I'm not
very passive.
I'm not like some alpha, dude that's like all macho. Oh, let me testosterone you to death.
Out, yeah, steroids.
Not at all, but if I notice a bunch of guys running around crying, look, we talked about crying before. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with opening up. But it seems like they're just running around like, there was one dude, he goes, they're getting in a fight, and he goes, "My heart is literally breaking." And then he walks away. Come on, man.
Yeah, that was very fucking weak.
It's
sorry.
Just, and there's this one poor guy.
You can tell she wanted to laugh. She was like, what the fuck? Like, the look on her face when he did that shit.
Oh, the best part, though, she definitely knows she was on camera.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, the more the show got on, very dramatic, yeah. Like, all the stupid, like, sighs.
You know when I knew, like, that Andy Dalton looking guy was, like, passive?
Damien, I think, right?
Yeah, Damien is his name, you're right. Is when he proposed to her, and she reversed the shit. She's like, actually, no, I want you to stand up right now. And he was like, okay. So he stood up, and she got on her fucking knees. She's like, no, I'm going to propose to you. Will you marry me? And he was like, oh my gosh, yeah, And after that, I was like, yes. He was crying.
Nah, but like, there's one poor guy on there, man. Like,
Mark.
his girl's like openly walking around, flirting with the guy that she had a connection with. That wasn't him.
They're not having sex. She wasn't even letting him kiss, I think, at this point.
Well, and that was the other part, too. When I say I feel like you can, like, tell by somebody's stature just by their voice, I feel like she could tell by the guy's voice that she liked him more. And that's why she kept going back to him.
Right.
And then once they met, it turns out he's definitely her type physically, because she described it in the beginning. She never saw him, but she could tell by his voice.
I don't think it would have worked out. I think he knew that, too.
Oh, yeah.
Barnett is his name, because
towards the end, he was like
throwing herself, and he kept like deflecting it, like, "No, I'm happy. No,
yeah."
And I was proud of him. I was like, "Damn, he's not falling for it." You can tell she was getting mad too.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. Well, we're still friends, so here's my number if you ever need to hit me up. And all this extra shit.
Scandalous.
Very scandalous.
Scandalous.
And poor Mark, man, I felt so bad for him because he just a puppy dog,
such a sweet guy,
in love, and like, yeah, baby, whatever you want. Like,
he was friendly though, like, he's
but like a cool dude to hang out with.
Yeah,
but I just felt like you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart, bro. You gotta know when you're getting played.
I feel like he's probably intense though. Like, I don't know.
And what you said, intense?
Like, if you were just to hang out with him, just kind of like staring you down and shit, like,
probably
not like intimidating, but just like intense. Like, damn, man, you good? Relax.
Yeah, like, calm down, bro. It's not that serious.
He was pretty easygoing, but he had that look on his face.
You know what's funny about that situation? Jessica told him, or told the actual viewers, you know, I'm in love with this guy. He's perfect for me. I don't give a fuck if he looks like a troll. I'm still gonna like him regardless.
He wasn't a bad looking dude, but she was like, he's just not my type. Physically, I can't get there.
72 hours later.
Spoiler alert. We should have started with saying it was probably gonna be some
sorry,
spoilers,
it's some spoilers. We're not telling you too much. We're just giving you names right now. But yeah, the show is pretty fucking funny, man.
I like it too because you know, there's a lot of diverse, attractive women, you know, like all races that I was like, okay, like it's, you know, pretty people, guys and gals. And you know, I'm sure the girls like some of the dudes on there.
And it's going to keep going. And I'm sure they're going to have like every sexual, like whatever your preference is going to be on there too. Which is
probably, yeah.
You know,
can you imagine that?
It's Netflix, so I mean, that's, you know, it is what it is. So I wouldn't be surprised. That's a good thing because, you know, it's including everybody. But yeah, you guys should definitely check the show out. And I think, me personally, do I feel that love is blind? Fuck no. I don't agree with that.
It's not.
It's not blind at all. It's a combination, in my opinion, but no, the physical somewhat has to be there. You cannot just talk to a person and that's it. Like, you have to be physically attractive to what you're looking at to an extent.
I think love is somewhat blind, but the problem is we're not patient. Yeah. Because if we had patience, once we know somebody, we might at first be like, nah, you know, but after time, they kind of grow on you. You kind of fall in love with their personality or their character.
You're supposed to. That's the right way, I feel. You're right.
Right.
I agree.
Like, you can, you know, but the thing is, we're so impatient that, nah, she's not appealing to me physically. I'm out, you know.
And also, we get so caught up with the world, what the world thinks, and our family and our friends, and how this person's going to view us.
People do think that, yeah.
And it plays a part in it, too. Social media. Stupid, but it does, you know.
So much, you know, superficial, basically.
And that's why, you know, to go back on the show, that's why I love it, because when they get to, you know,
they switch up. Some of them switch up.
When they get to that part, people switch up quick. When they get their phones back and they're around their friends. It's just funny because that's actually real life, you know?
It really is. I would recommend. Definitely very entertaining. Very entertaining.
Once again, it's on Netflix, guys.
Yeah, so it's accessible to all y'all.
Netflix is making a comeback, finally.
We'll see. Next thing I had to talk about on the docket, Money Mayweather potentially linked to training Deontay Wilder if you had Wilder Fury 3. Now, really, he didn't. I didn't really read anything that said that he did flat out pitch that. But I did read that he said he would win the third match if he trained him. So, I mean, he's at least tying his name to it. He said, look, I love you, you know, no disrespect. Like, you're still, like, repping for the culture kind of thing, you know. But, I mean, I think, look,
you know,
we talked, did we talk about the fight?
We did talk. No, we didn't talk about it in detail, but we mentioned it.
All right, you go first. What were your thoughts?
So, my thoughts is this is perfect for Wilder. And the reason being is he's not a boxer, bro. He cannot box.
He's a fighter.
He's a fighter he's a one-trick pony. You know, he has power in that hand, and that's it. And Fury's a smart guy. Like, he's a boxer. He's methodical, you know. And so I wasn't surprised that the fight played out the way it actually did. So with Mayweather actually training him, that's great, because Mayweather's the best boxer of all time, like actual boxer. He knows the sport.
I would agree with that.
He knows the sport in and out. Very defensive, because boxing is defense. You're supposed to box and not get hit. So that's why I think that's gonna play a major role to this next fight if it does happen.
I hope it does, because I just think that would be entertaining. Because I mean, watching it, Fury's just like outclasses Wilder boxing wise.
Fury has
first
everything
match
too, man. He's charismatic too.
The first match, I mean, many people felt he won. You know,
I don't.
The
first
knockdown.
Match, I feel like Wilder won personally.
That knockdown by Wilder like stunned everybody, and I mean, Fury was like out cold for like 4 seconds. It looked like he was out.
Yeah.
He just kind of shakes his head, gets up, he's fine.
It was a Rocky
and then he
Balboa
finished
moment.
winning by like basically winning the round.
It was a Rocky Balboa moment.
I mean, it's
Definitely.
crazy. So the rematch, kind of the same thing. You know, you're watching it. Wilder's sloppy, awful footwork, not really great defense,
and he kept backing up, which was very surprising.
Yes, Fury was pretty aggressive, and Fury kept leaning on him. You know, kept kind of putting him in those headlocks.
That's smart. See,
that was making him tired. You know, and then kind of getting in his head like, damn, this guy's so much bigger.
Because Wilder weighed how much? 230, right?
I think so. Yeah, he put on some weight from the previous fight.
That's a lot of extra weight on you.
It is. He kept leaning on him. I mean, think about heavy lifting. You know, you lose your legs, and when you lose your legs, you lose that power, and that's why I think he wasn't really throwing many punches because I think he knew he didn't have it.
He didn't.
At that point, he was just kind of out. He took that one hit, you know, that got his ear bleeding, and that just kind of knocked him out.
You can tell he was off balance.
Yeah, the whole fight he looked kind of wobbly, but, you know, he can take a punch, which is why, you know, before that night he was undefeated.
He has heart. You know, I still respect the fuck out of him. He has a lot of heart.
And he didn't get knocked out. Like, they called TKO. I mean, I think it was probably right because he wasn't at the point where he was defenseless, but he was going there. Like, he wasn't putting up any fight anymore. Like, he wasn't getting clobbered. He wasn't defenseless at the moment, but he was right on the precipice.
Plus, you have to think about your whole career. I know he was upset, like, watch out throwing the towel. Because they love you, man. They're thinking about you.
Right. Think about your head, for next fight.
Yeah, because boxers, one wrong hit, and that's it. You're done. You're vegetable. So I'm pretty sure he thanked everybody afterwards when he probably went back and watched. And like, that wasn't my best. You know, like.
I think if Mayweather got involved, though, that would be badass because he'd help him with the boxing, but also probably better corner representation. I mean, Wilder's corner, every time he went there, they just looked stumped. Like,
because they weren't
hey, man, you got this?
Right, yeah, they weren't used to it. They weren't used to having to tell them to switch up your style, which is very interesting, too, you know? So that's what, definitely if Mayweather gets involved, it's going to be a very entertaining fight. You can take my money for that. I won't try to, like, do some shady shit to watch it. I'll pay for that one.
I would too.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get off sports since we're not usually a sports podcast. Next topic. I was just scrolling on Instagram and I saw Stranger Things season 4 is coming out.
Stranger Things.
The only question I have
like
is
35, 36.
Bro, they're old. Get over it. Like, I don't.
Reminds me of High School Musical.
I thought the first season was cool because there was like the mystery of the kid disappearing. Did you watch it?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I wasn't really a Stranger Things person.
I'm with you.
I tried to give it a shot, just like I tried to give. I know people are gonna hate me for saying this too, but Lord of the Rings, I'm not a fan of that either. I tried to give both of them a shot, and it just wasn't my thing.
Well, Stranger Things was kind of cool the first season because it kind of felt like retro 80s horror flicks.
But it's not really scary. It's just more eerie.
Suspense, eerie. The first season very much had those elements, right?
Right.
But all that kind of just went away. And I watched the first episode of the second season. I was like, I'm out. It just, like they're like other people have powers and stuff. And I was kind of cool with it being mysterious and kind of scary, not big and conspiracy. And I stopped watching it, so I don't know, maybe it becomes a great show, but they're all like
do you feel
20 years old and shit now. Like, you're not a kid, the aesthetic is over, it's weird now.
And in the show they're supposed
voices
to be
cracking,
voices all deep now, like, hey, come here, yo.
Hey, when does 5th grade start again? Scruff, like he's got that neck beard.
Yeah. So ridiculous. But no, what I was gonna ask, like, do you think if you're put in a situation where they told you to come back and you're old as shit, would you do it?
Oh yeah, I don't blame the kids at all. But here's the thing that can happen though. We've seen it with like Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson. We're seeing it now with Batman. Like,
right.
Oh, it's Edward from Twilight. That's not Batman.
People view you in that light.
You get typecasted sometimes where you're like stuck in that role. I mean, child actors, that shit happens.
It happens, yeah. So that's why I'm asking you what I'm asking you, because you have to think about the long run too in your career.
Well, you see like that Finn Wolf, whatever, the one that was in It.
Uh-huh.
He's been popping up in a lot of movies. And
Finn,
some horror films.
Yeah.
He was in the one with the mom and the daughter. This is riveting podcast, I know. But basically just he's been popping up in some things, but I don't know how that translates to like adult success, because I feel like the only path that you'll typically see is they're around for a while and then they disappear for a while and then they come back. So like you think like John Travolta, he wasn't a child actor, but he was around, disappeared, comes back.
So answer to your question.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, Brolin. You would do that if they were to come back. Me, I wouldn't do it. And the reason why is you actually brought up my point. You would get typecasted. And me, if I was in that industry, I would want to to take more serious roles or be in other movies. I wouldn't always want to be that child actor and I'm 40 or some shit and they're putting makeup on me. Just like the one guy we talked about that's 50 or 60 now and he's playing all these young roles still. I forget his name. You know what I'm talking about.
Nah, who?
Like it's in the WhatsApp. But it's a white guy. He looks very like wrinkly, but he has like a shit ton of makeup. But just like him, I can't think of the name.
Not
right
Tom Cruise.
Not Cruise. I can't think of it. He's older, much older than Cruise. But anyways, the point I'm making is I don't want to be stuck in that role in those roles forever because it wouldn't make me feel good inside. You know, like I feel like I wouldn't be growing.
I feel like the move is like if you're gonna be in a role that you think might typecast you, like oh shit, I'm a comedy actor.
Right.
People are like Jonah Hill, like I'm the fat funny guy. You know, I feel like the move is okay. Early on, I got to go serious or indie. Like if I do an indie film,
Franco did it.
Yeah, if I do an indie film or if I go serious for some films, that kind of helps you. I feel like it helps you avoid being typecasted.
Right.
You know, Vince Vaughn early on was in a lot of serious movies. Jurassic Park 2, Lost World. He was in that whatever that movie was where he was the stepdad and John Travolta was the dad.
Yeah.
And he was like the crazy psycho stepdad trying to kill his like stepson.
Everybody. That's right. I forget about that. And
Psycho remake.
Psycho, yeah. And also James Franco, because I know he was serious as shit in the very beginning. And my first moments when I seen him actually be a little funny was in Spider-Man. You remember the little scene where he was in the kitchen dancing? And I was like, it was very weird to see that from Franco. And then after that, Pineapple Express came out.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he's been in fucking funny movies.
He was in this one movie. This is awful because I can't remember the name of any of these movies.
And then also the Room, the making of the Room.
Yeah, that was funny. I forgot about that movie, and then I saw it pop up recently. I forgot how funny it was.
Tear me apart, Lisa.
There was the scene. There was that movie with Jonah Hill, where I think James Franco was the killer. Jonah Hill was his defense attorney, and it was supposed to be serious. And like the whole time I'm watching it, like not taking it serious at all, because I'm just sitting there like, I'm sorry, this just seems stupid to me. And it was kind of a shitty movie overall, in my opinion. I thought it would be way better than that, but nah. He was, James Franco was in that movie where I think was it Kate Hudson was in it.
Or was it?
And it was serious, so they found money in their home.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That one was pretty good.
I remember that one. That one was good, actually.
Hey, add us. Here's a good time to plug. Add us on Twitter or Instagram at therep.network. Email us at repertoirenetwork@gmail.com. What am I asking for? The names of these movies, because I don't remember any of them. But they're good, though. Yeah. They're good, though. I recommend watching them if you figure out which ones we're talking about, because I have no recollection.
And if you're a movie watcher, because there are a lot of good old school movies and new school as well. But definitely, like Mike said, add us with these names so we can be further educated.
Yeah, keep us on our fact checking. Yeah. Next thing I saw, this will probably take a second because I'm probably gonna explain it like shit. But I saw this thing was trending on Twitter the other day that was OnlyFans. I'm like, what? Why is this trending?
First off, before we get into that, let's explain what OnlyFans is. Do you know what it is, Mike?
I mean, it's webcams on social media.
Basically, yeah, and basically it's where I believe chicks, guys, whatever, dogs, cats. I'm joking on that part, but yeah. So men and women could post. It's basically like a porn site. Like
it's whatever you want to see.
Whatever you want to see. It's very like whatever content. It's no filter to anything.
You're charging people to do whatever you want to do. Like there's some people that can have OnlyFans feet. I feel like we've talked about this before in the podcast.
We have in the past. I think Chance brought it up.
Yeah, people can have that shit, and like there will be a market. There will. I'm not watching the shit, but there will be a market.
$80 a month or some shit, which is ridiculous. You know how I feel about that. We already talked about that too. But that's what basically OnlyFans is. So it's a website where you can put whatever you want to, from adult, graphic, whatever, but you have to pay a price to see everything.
So the reason it was trending, people were doing OnlyFans, but substituting fans for another word and then posting a picture of what that word was. It's like OnlyFans, but it's only stands, and you only meet with like your fans, and it would show a picture of like Stan, like Eminem or something like that.
Yeah, or only Vans, or
yeah, only Vans, but all you do is people wearing Vans. You got pictures of Vans as the picture. Are there any that are funny though, or is it just like, are we just gonna come up with corny ones?
I actually don't.
Only Dans, just a bunch of random Dans.
Only hands.
It's like a social media group for social media group only for people named Dan. Like you have to prove that your name is Dan. You said only hands.
Yeah, only hands.
A circle jerk community.
Only circle jerks. Can you imagine? Be so fucking ridiculous.
Only my mans.
Only mans. Oh nah. But no. So seriously, it's a funny meme. I really haven't caught on to it much. I
don't know if it was like a when I say trending, I don't think it's like one of those like, oh, it's the plank challenge, where like everybody's doing it. It was just plank. It was a thing on there for a day. Do you remember planking?
I do remember planking, but I know what is trending right now.
What's that?
When people say, "Man, nigga, spitting," and not like meaning like actual spitting like tup or rapping, but the nigga spitting means if it's something that goes hard, pretty much. Like for example, your shoes, Mike. Man, them shoes spitting. Because, you know, they're hard. You know, like the colorway. So it doesn't have to be actual, like, rapping. It could just be, like, a thing or an entity, like, whatever. Like, something that's just cool. Like, man, that's spitting.
Well, we had, when Chance and I were talking about no cap.
Yeah, no cap, too.
Where are you at on no cap?
Yeah, I've said it a couple of times. I try to stay hip with the youngsters.
I used it, but I feel like I've already stopped using it.
I still use facts. That's another one. Facts.
It's funny. It's funny as a group chat, sending the fax machine.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. No cap. I use here and there because it is a cool thing to say every now and then.
Right.
And, we still cool.
Well, the ones that stuck were bet. I feel like it's pretty timeless now.
Yeah, bet.
Throwed.
Yeah, bet, throw. Bet is the one that's gonna
goes hard.
Go away. Yeah, goes hard. Or yeah, man. Like those are all good ones. Those are gonna be timeless ones. I feel like no cap. They'll be timeless too. Because it's
think it'll come back.
Yeah,
because I feel like it's kind of faded a little bit. But these usually wave back in.
It's still here. It hasn't went anywhere. No. Like people still say no cap, like all the time.
What about? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Shout out Gerry.
Yeah, Gerry. He always says but it's
shout out Gerry. We love you, Gerry.
Oh, for sure. We love everybody. But it's cool because it's just we all have our unique personalities, which is dope.
Our own phrases. It's cool too. Like I feel like that's the ultimate test of like whether somebody has been assimilated to your crew. Is if they start picking up like your words.
Yeah.
If they start picking up your words and using them, you're like, you kind of get down. That's also cool when you're in a relationship. They start listening to your music, start wearing shit like how you wear it, But the coolest thing is like when they start using your words.
Yeah, that is cool. It makes you feel like got your chest out. And
I'm comfortable
good.
now.
Like, dang, I finally got to her. But no, when you're in a relationship, you become the other person. The other person becomes you.
It's all compromise.
Yeah,
you start to like kind of meet in the middle.
You start to even kind of look alike a little bit. When you take
certain
pictures
things,
of people,
yeah.
you're like, man, y'all starting to look alike. Which now I get that when people say that, which is strange. But yeah, you do because you hang around each other so much. You're each other's best friends, or you're supposed to. Like that brings up a good point. Do you feel like you should be best friends with your significant other?
Well, it's hard to say because I am right now. So, like, it's hard to say. It's hard to consider what it wouldn't be like because, like, trying to think, like, I've dated girls in the past that weren't my best friend, but I feel like those relationships could have lasted. Like, they didn't, but I feel like they could have.
Right.
But, Emily and I were friends first, and then we were always with somebody while we were friends until one time we weren't. We were both single,
cool
and it happened.
Right.
But I don't think you have to be. I think if you have to have some common interests. I feel like you have to have some things that you can do together, but it also depends on what you're like. I like independence. She likes independence. We also like being around people a lot. So
that's what y'all have in common.
we have both of those. I feel like the dynamic at least has to be in common. We don't have many similar. We don't listen to the same music. We really don't watch the same kind of movies. I mean, we'll bleed into each other's, here and there. Like she'll listen to some of my music, and some of it she'll pick up.
Right.
Movies or TV shows. Sometimes I'll watch what she's watching. I mentioned the Love Is Blind earlier, but I feel like you have to be on the same level when it comes to how you are with other people, because we both like having space, but we also like being with each other. So there's like a nice balance of both. Mm-hmm. But if you're one of those people that is clingy, or like you like to be around your person all the time, but the other person is independent, wants to be out and about all the time,
it's not going to work.
It's not, or at least it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of compromise. So
a lot of compromise, you said it. So, that's good, Mike. That's good. Me, I don't agree with the best friend part, and you mentioned that you don't have to be best friends. So my story is everybody that I've actually been with in the past, even up to now, I'm not best friends, because I'm friends, of course. Like I consider them as good friends, but we're not besties where we do everything together.
Right.
At least, now that I think about it, are we besties? Because, we talk all the time. We text all the time. Shit, we might be, actually. I think about it. But in my mind, like...
You kind of become best friends.
Yeah, without even realizing it, right? In my mind, I don't go in thinking like, okay, we're friends, but I have to have my own group of best friends. Like you, Gerry. Because to me, I feel like it can just become too much. Because you're already seeing this person a lot. You're talking, texting every day, doing the duties, that you're supposed to do. And it just become a lot to me. So that's how I feel. I don't think you necessarily have to be best friends for everything to work or things to be okay. You can not be best friends at all and shit can still work. It should be able to, You
don't have to be best friends, but I feel like you have to be able to talk or relate or have something to communicate about, because those honeymoon physical feelings always fizzle out, because the excitement of like, oh, this has never happened before, and the tension builds up.
Right.
To when you finally do, it's like, oh my God, this happened. Like the payoff,
It's finally the moment.
The payoff is there. And the first couple of times, it's still new. You're still like, what? I'm not suggesting that like the passion goes away, but that initial like lust kind of fades, and it kind of matures into more of like a love, a compatible, almost like I've mentioned before, familial in a way. Like I'm now building you into like a family presence. Like you and I are becoming one, because it's almost like we are family now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it circles back to
you're starting a family, so you're family.
It circles back to what we talked about earlier when we brought up the show, Love Is Blind, how you can learn, like you said, to love somebody and to see them truly for what they are versus being so caught up with the physical. So, yeah, definitely. I agree with you. That's a good little segue to everything.
Yeah, good segue into deep shit. So the next segment that we get into, we always end up talking deep shit. Look, we got into deep shit right there. So first topic that we have on here, one that I can kind of relate to, is finding new jobs. I guess we can all kind of relate to that.
Dun, dun, dun. Especially me and you. Yeah, we definitely can relate to that.
The thought here is how weird it is, right? Like the roller coaster of emotions. You're just like I said on the last pod, when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's weird walking away from it knowing, okay, I started this, it didn't really it ended, it finished, Usually when you start a relationship, whether that's friendship, dating, or work, you don't really go into it thinking, what's the end going to be like?
Yeah.
Because you don't really want it to ever end. Ideally, you make the right choice on all those and it never changes. But, factors come into play that, you get opportunities and shit like that. And it's just weird walking away from it, because you forget about the little things that you'll miss until they're gone. You don't know what you got until it's gone.
That is true.
They say that, and there's some truth to that, but I think what it really is, you miss little details of rituals. Humans, we become addicted to rituals.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I'm now addicted to walking huncho. Like, you know, walking the dog. I'm addicted to that ritual.
Right.
You know, when you're at work, I get addicted to like, man, I know about the same time I eat certain kind of snacks, or this is the same time of the day that I always do this. It
Or you always
becomes a
talk to this
habit.
person, right? To me, bro, I feel that people could leave jobs a lot sooner or find something a lot sooner, but we're all fearful of the unknown and we all get comfortable, which
Yeah.
keeps us at a job or a position much longer than we anticipated. And so you have to step outside that comfort zone, like we mentioned and talked about, because you never know. You don't want to look back in life 10 years, 15 years from now in the same position at the same job when you're miserable, you know, and you're like, damn.
Especially if you're miserable.
Right, especially miserable, or you're just like, damn, what could have been. You should live life with no regrets. As cliche as that sound, you have to do that, you know. So I think that's why people stay at jobs, because you're comfortable and you're fearful.
On the other hand, I will say there is some value to patience, to an extent. You know, if you're miserable, you probably shouldn't be patient and ride that out, because if you're miserable, that usually doesn't go away.
But also, people have bills to pay as well.
Yeah.
So I get why you
can get stuck.
Yeah, exactly. You get
Yeah.
stuck in a rut. So I get it too.
Well, you have to kind of, and this is that self-awareness thing, you know, being honest with yourself. The only way you're really going to be happy is if you're honest with yourself. You have to evaluate why you're miserable at that job. Is it, man, it's a lot of work. Okay, then look at it from the other angle. Why? Like, okay, if it's a lot of work, do I enjoy the work? Am I complaining that it's a lot of work in general? Am I really, like, just kind of bitching right now and I need to step up, man up, and, like, get it done?
Right.
Or is it just, like, monotonous work I don't enjoy? You know, but be honest with yourself. You don't have to answer those questions for anybody other than yourself. But am I growing? Am I developing? If the answers to those questions are yes, then I feel like you don't want to jump ship.
Yeah.
Not that, hey, settle, you know, but if you feel like you're still growing and you can at least value the growth
You feel
in the hard
satisfied
times,
from everything.
yeah, there's a payout. There's a
Right.
payoff. There's something that you're getting. Now, when it comes to a point where, like, man, work is tough and, man, work is miserable, and you feel that development plateaus or just kind of stops.
Or you peak.
Then it's like, all right, it's time to take the new challenge.
Right.
But to your point, bringing it back to the fear thing, discomfort is the path to growth.
Mhm.
You know, if you're comfortable, you're doing the same thing every time, you're not even thinking about it at some point. It becomes muscle
So
memory.
natural, exactly. That's right.
Everything. I mean, I can tell you right now, when I dial, like, the conference number for when I'm doing conference calls, my fingers just dial it without me even thinking.
Looking, right.
It's like putting a code in on a video game. Like, your muscle memory just kind of gets there. Now, that's like the minor thing. Like, I don't, you know, I'm not saying, oh, once you're at muscle memory, cancel it. Nah, I'm not saying that. But it gets to the point where, like, everything you do is just so automatic that you're not actually even putting thought into what you're doing.
Mhm.
Maybe you're happy with that. Maybe you want to just do mindless work
And some
and
people
just get it over with.
right.
That's fine.
And some people like that, bro. They like routine. They like being at the same job 15, 20 years because they feel like they're growing, or
Right.
like you said, it's just they're comfortable, or like, okay, I'll just stay here. It's a good paying job. They'll stay for the money as well if it's decent paying, like maybe 60, 70. Of course, they'll stay. But you have individuals like me and you who want more, who seek more, who feel like we deserve more.
I think it comes down to worth. Yeah. You have to look at your self-worth, and you have to think, am I where I think I should be?
Yep.
And now sometimes we put impossible goals, you know, in front of ourselves.
You have to.
Well, you have to put
gotta put
put
goals.
challenging,
Yeah.
but attainable. Sometimes I think people can tend to put impossible goals in front of themselves.
Somebody always told me this, Mike. When I was 10 years old, one of my mom's boyfriends, and it stays with me to this day. Always shoot as high as you can.
shoot
in
for
life.
perfect, because excellent will.
Shoot as high as you can. Even if you don't make it to the sun or where you're trying to go, at least you be amongst the stars.
Right.
And so that always stuck with me. And you got to ask yourself in everything that you're doing, am I trying my hardest? Am I happy? Am I too comfortable? If you're too comfortable, you got to change some shit. I'm not saying leave your job necessarily, but maybe you should take on a different role at your job, something that's going to be more challenging, because that's how you grow in life. Because the moment you feel like you're not growing anymore, that's when you start slacking off at work or start hating things and start hating this. So like you said, you got to really look in the mirror and do some self-reflecting. Like, hey, like, am I doing all that I can to be happy in my situation right now? You know, so.
Well, life, it comes in seasons.
Yeah.
When you're younger and it's time to be a little bit more risky and take on more challenges, that's probably when you should be more inclined to take the leap and try something new.
Right.
You're older, you're already settled, like you have your family and all that. You're like, I don't want to really be too risky. If you're able to provide for your family, then nobody can tell you that you're failing. You're not. Now, then it's a matter of, am I happy enough with this? I feel like you can reach a point where you're like, okay, I'm good now. I'm stable.
Yeah.
We're everybody's eating and we're able to have luxuries.
Right.
I'm going into the fall or the winter of my life. I want to start winding down and taking it easy. Have somebody else take care of me. That's fine, but I feel like that's more like when you're older,
Yeah.
Like that's when you're kind of hanging them up.
And like you said, time. That's the one thing that we can't control and we don't have. So with that being said, do all that you can do while you're young or somewhat young, so you don't have any regrets.
We have the stamina.
In a snap of a finger, we're gonna be old, and then we're gonna look back like, fuck, what happened?
Shit, we already are, man. 30 years old, right?
Yeah, getting up there. We're just still young to me, but you know what I mean. Like, it's gonna be to a point where we got canes or some shit. God willing, of course, we make it to that point. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Just do all you can while you can and while you have your health.
So back to that, leaving the job and having those things that you miss. I'm going to miss, like, there's a Panera right there that I go to all the time.
Yeah, the Ritual.
And I just got, like, they have, like, the unlimited coffee for $9 a month.
I know you're happy about that.
I spend that shit in a week, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I know you're happy about that.
I go there, like, every day.
Mike's a coffee drinker. Oh,
coffee. Boy. But, yeah, I'm going to miss that because it was right there.
Yeah.
Miss, like some of the corny, if you follow like Middle Class Fancy on Instagram, all those,
you're gonna miss the people there
corporate,
too, I'm sure.
Little isms are there with like
yeah.
Hey man, how's your day going? Like, oh, another day in paradise.
How's the wife? How's the dog? Yeah, I got you.
What's another day in paradise? What are some other ones? Just hard. You're working hard or hardly working.
Another day, another dollar.
Another day, another dollar.
You imagine Dan coming up saying that shit like, another day, another dollar, Mike. Like, he's all in his 50s and shit.
What are some other ones?
Let's see. Don't work too hard, or just stand out of trouble, or just stupid shit like that.
You know what I would always say is like, if it was like Wednesday, I'm like, we're halfway home.
Oh yeah, hump day. Halfway.
Do you like the little like fake like jab kind of thing?
Yeah, like a little dance. So cheesy.
It is, but you miss like
miss
that
those
human
moments.
interaction because it's genuine. Like,
it is
all right,
genuine.
like this is awkward. I'm trying.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that everybody should have in common, or everybody does have in common, is you're gonna miss the people as well. When you leave, you always miss the people.
That's what it always is. And it's funny too. I'm all over like the recruiting stuff.
Yeah,
they're like, hey, great place to work, because I'm just like your, like I guess just
gung ho, about everything.
Prototype looking, advertising guy.
Type A.
Not like I'm in advertising, but I'm like, I guess I fit into the advertisement for like just average American.
You fit that mold, right?
But I'm all over a lot of that, so it's like kind of weird,
Yeah.
But I mean, you learn, you grow, you develop, just like anything. You just have to look and develop. But
and also, I think what people need to do more is look how far you've come in life. Like, just sit down, whatever you're doing in your car, wherever your safe haven's at, and just have gratitude and appreciate the moments to how far you've come.
Gratitude is everything, man.
Because we take a lot of things for granted and don't realize how far we've grown or have come as a person.
Gratitude really is everything. Because I mean, we can all find something to bitch about.
Yeah.
I've learned that like when I look at the things that stress me out, you can't just ignore them. Sometimes, a little bit of stress is good. You need a motivator. You need to get some shit done.
Right.
But when you just dwell on it and dwell on it, there's a time and place for everything. You know, just like Belichick would say, do your job.
Yeah.
Do you know?
We
So
always
do you
go
know what
back to
that means,
that.
though? Do your job, right?
Yeah, do your job. It's the most simplest thing is do what you have to do. Like, don't bitch, don't complain. At a job, right? We get paid. It's still a job. Even though you hate it, they are still paying you money. You still are you have a certain accountability to uphold, like, where you have to do what you were hired to do.
Well, so that's part of it, yeah. But I think there's a misconception because the core of that is do your job. Like, don't worry about anybody else's shit. Do what you're responsible for.
Don't try to do too much or worry about, like you said, about what's going on.
Focus,
Yeah.
you know? And I just feel like when you start worrying about stuff that's out of your hands,
We're
that
trying
you
to
can't
become
control,
a hero.
do your job. Focus on your shit, the shit that's in front of you that you can control, the things that you can impact. The things that you can't impact, if they don't go your way, shit, that sucks, but hey, we'll get through it. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, it's all about knowing your strengths and weaknesses. That brings, like you said, do your job. If you know you're not strong in this, why are you trying to do that? Stay in your lane.
Basically, stay in your lane, but it's, you know, stay in your lane with
Be smart about it, of course, you know, but
Yeah.
definitely don't try to do too much, because I know me, I try to do too much a lot before, like, finishing one task or whatever. I feel like, okay, I'm great at this or I'm getting good at this, let me start doing something else. When in fact, no, I shouldn't. I should become amazing at something that I'm doing before I even think about that. You know, so I definitely see where you're coming from and how people can misconstrue that.
well, and it also makes you think about when you have an idea, and I think we're talking even just about like podcasts and things like that in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier to be a skeptic than to be a believer.
Yeah.
So there are people that believe and there are people that doubt. I
You-
mean,
you know-
everybody has a little bit of both, but I feel like there are people that just generally live on one side of that threshold.
You know why I think that? Because people love to people gravitate towards negativity way much more than positive. That's just human nature, unfortunately. You always feel like, okay, this is stupid, it's not gonna work. It always hits your mind, like with any and everything. And it sucks. It really does, but we have to change that narrative and change that mode and start believing a little more. I think once we all start doing that as a society, as a world, you know, man, it's no telling how far we can be right now, just with everything in life.
Well, and I think really it just comes down to seeing things into existence. When you think about, you know, people say visualize. I remember in football practice when I was younger, coach used to always say, think about what you do out there on the field. All right, now visualize. Real country dude. He had like almost like a mullet. Visualize.
Joe
He's
Dirt,
like-
shout out to Joe Dirt.
He was like, if you're working on the line, I need you to think about exploding off that, you know, when the ball snapped, explode, make your block, visualize it though, see it happen, close your eyes.
And it's crazy you still can remember that. And that
I
was
can
years
remember
ago.
that. But it's true because you think about, I mean, that's what practice is. Practice is making shit muscle memory. To bring it back to muscle memory, that's why we practice. That's the whole Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing.
Shout out to Allen Iverson too.
You basically imprint your brain, you know, like, hey, this is now programmed in there. So
Right.
when you visualize, you also see it and work on the mechanics. Like, you can visualize, like, the fine details. You know, Drew Brees is one of those that'll practice plays and, you know, going through his reads and everything without a football.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make sure he's focusing on, like, all the other mechanics. You know, you'll
Right.
see people that'll work on one arm at a time swinging a baseball bat to kind of learn that muscle memory, you
Yeah,
know, making
yeah.
it very mechanical. So when you see something into action, you can see like, okay, what would this actually look like? Hey, I want to be famous. Great. Like, think about what comes with that. Think about that actually happening. First of all, do you want paparazzi stress and going out in public, everybody knowing who you are? And, oh my God. If you're saying yes, okay, that's fine. I still want to do it. Okay, think about what actually would get you there to do it, you know? Because if you can see the steps, you can make that happen.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to be a skeptic, though, because if you say, nah, I don't think that'll happen, I doubt it.
And it doesn't happen, you're proving them right.
You're proving it
point.
right? Like, oh, see, I told you. Now,
Right.
if you're wrong, most people won't say I told you so. They might just say something like, oh, I told all the haters. But if you're one of the people that doubted it and you're wrong, it's just like, well, can you blame me? Who would think that would actually happen? You know?
That brings me back up to the point when you mentioned haters. That's where skepticism come from as well. Is people hating in fear of them not being successful.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not gonna make it, or feel like I have doubts with me making it, why do I want to see this other person make it?
And what I'll say with that is I've tried to learn, bringing it back to gratitude, appreciating what you have,
Yeah.
and being self-aware, not really focusing on what you don't have. You know, when you hear the opinions of others, if they're negative,
Mm-hmm.
hear what they're saying, you know, evaluate, is this real feedback or is this just somebody hating, right?
Right.
Hating, file that away. Make that your motivation. If they're just hating, appreciate that hate.
Yeah.
Love it, because
Be
that's going to
thankful.
drive you. That is adrenaline. That if you're like, you know what, people doubt me, go look over here at all the people that doubted you,
Prove them
and
wrong every
that'll
time.
light a fire under your ass,
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure. Facts.
Now, if they doubt and they're wrong, you know, or going back to opinions.
Yeah.
Listen to it, and if you think, you know what, let me be self-aware. If there is something with like, well, there's something to what they're saying, I should take this as constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Fine, work on it, move on. Don't take it personally.
You should
Nobody's
never
trying to attack
Yeah,
you.
you should never take things personally. I know it's easier said than done sometimes, but like you said, when you grow, you learn not to take stuff personally, because at the end of the day, they probably are really looking out for you. They wouldn't be telling you something repeatedly if they didn't care, they didn't mean it,
Right.
or if it's not some kind of truth to it, what they're saying.
Well, and if you're working with people that are just like dicks, or they're just like hard, they're difficult,
Right.
kill them with kindness.
Mhm.
Okay, again, easier said than done, but why does that work? Well, I feel like, you know, attitudes are contagious. They rub off on people.
Oh, for sure.
If
for
you're
sure.
around happy people, that you're going to be happy. If you smile, usually smiles are contagious. I smile when I'm on the phone because you can kind of hear a smile, you know?
Yeah.
Now,
And people will apologize too. That's happened to me.
Yeah.
To where I was just in a good ass mood one day, and I was, I'm not letting anybody ruin this mood. And people, they tested me, of course, but it didn't work. And I was still just like, whatever, one in there and out the other. I didn't care. Just let it roll off my back. And they're like, you know what, man? Like, I'm sorry. I'm going through this, and that.
Yeah.
Just telling me everything, and then I'm like, okay, cool. But the point I'm making is, sometimes, you know, you can't feed into that because somebody may just be having a shitty day.
you don't know the other person's burden.
Right, exactly.
But, I mean, yeah, it's just be grateful for what you have. And I feel like if people just offer shitty opinions and you're like, you know what, like, you're just trying to, I understand the intent. You are trying to just take a stab, ignore it. I feel like if you just
Yeah.
don't give that thought
Don't
any
give it
power,
Don't give it any life.
no life, kill it immediately.
Right.
Okay, and then just done, drop it. That's all the person's going to think about is, why aren't they responding?
Get
you
mad.
don't care about my opinion?
Get angry because
What?
negativity feeds off negativity and breeds negativity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we have to keep that in mind. Don't feed into that bullshit. Please listen to us, people.
Never, ever. All right. We're also talking a little bit offline about influence. We're talking about, well, the real story. We were talking about going and chilling with 50.
Ah, man, you said it.
So we randomly had connection that we could have gone and hung out with 50, but
Yeah. I want to surprise that for you guys, but
yeah, but you know, it just, the dynamic didn't really seem to fit into what our aesthetic is.
yeah.
What we were looking for, I was trying to make it more like, let me try to make it
More
networking.
personal. Yeah, more personable.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't want to make it like a photo op, because that's not what we're trying
that's
to
not
do.
what we're trying to do at all.
I'm gonna try to see if he gives me 5 minutes, because look, you can criticize him all you want. Dude knows past
Nah, 50 is a
success.
very smart. Hopefully, he listens to this, or somebody can get it to him. I'm sure. I have. Hey, we talk
Come on,
about
50.
We talk about being positive, right? Like you
True,
gotta talk
true.
stuff into existence, but or speak it. Excuse me. But yeah, 50 is a very smart businessman. Yeah, he trolls a lot, but I respect his business mind because look how far he's actually come, bro. You remember him from when he first started with music,
Boo-boo.
exactly, until where he's at now, and like so he has a lot of my respect, most definitely.
Nah, he definitely had like that alpha, you know, always starting beefs. Like, it's cool. It was like, in vogue to beef with people and shit.
Yep.
You know, and 50, like, it's so stupid, but it's true.
But it's money too. 50's like,
yeah,
he's a money person. You know.
but it made me think back when I was younger. I used to love 50 for the music. You know, I
Yeah.
loved G Unit. I loved all that shit. You
all
know,
those mixtapes,
03. I mean, that's
Body
peak
Snatchers.
Tall T
Yeah.
season. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
2003. So
We move on them.
it just kind of all fit in. And I remember I used to always just look at him and like how confident 50 was. That was kind of like something I looked up to as a role model. You know, like forget about his controversy. If I look just at, he was never afraid to just do some shit. He had hard work ethic because he'd put a video out for like every single song. He's probably got 100 music videos.
Yeah.
And he just knew the path, and he just would go and go. Like,
You know why, bro?
tenacious.
He did his job.
He did his job,
He knew
pushing
he knew-
hard,
he
man.
knew what he was good at, and he kept moving forward.
So it had me thinking about like, okay, the Mount Rushmore of influence throughout my life, and I put some thought into this. So again, Mount Rushmore, the four, you know, like you have the four presidents or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like the people that had the most influence on who I am today. Now the answers are kind of funny when you're like, wow, really? But if you listen to what I'm actually saying, how they influenced me, I make sense of it.
Yeah.
My Mount Rushmore. So when I was younger, I loved football. I still love football today.
Yeah.
Gerry Rice was my number one role model. So he was my favorite football player. That's why I like the 49ers today. He was all about work ethic. He was the best receiver, and it's not even close, you know, ever.
Right.
Just because of how much work he put in, smarts, all that kind of shit. It just taught me, like, okay, he wasn't the biggest, fastest, strongest, but he was the best receiver ever.
Yeah.
So seeing that young really grew me into, like, okay, this shit's possible. 50 gave me more of that, you know, like that confidence. Like, all right, now you just have to kind of go own it.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe be a little bit, not aggressive, but like assertive with your shit,
right.
you know?
You know what you want.
And then as I grew older and I got more into, you know, college and things like that, that's when I've always been a fan of Brady, but I really started when I started in college. The reason I started liking Brady, I'm a Niners fan. He beat the Rams. He always used to beat the teams the Niners couldn't beat when they did suck, when I actually liked them. So I grew to love Tom Brady. He taught me, you know, adversity, overcoming that. He tears his ACL, comes back. He's won Super Bowls in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Not age. I'm talking about like Super Bowl 36 or Super Bowl 38, 39, 49, 51, 53. You know, like he's done it over time. So it shows me like you find your process, you stick to that shit, you ride that shit to the end. You ride it to success. That becomes your mantra, basically. Like, that's what you do, you know?
Yeah, most definitely.
And then that got me into also around, as I became more creative with podcasts or writing, back when I write a lot more, just anything, even just scribbling some shit that I end up throwing away a couple of days later.
Yeah.
I like to create with art. And Kanye has really taught me the power of art and kind of that holistic, all of it goes together. You know, like his concerts are full on, they're events. It's not just him, you know, I'm all shouting into the mic and shit.
Yeah.
It's not that. There's like a whole production, you know? And that taught me to kind of keep an eye on the entirety of what I'm doing. You know, if I'm thinking about podcasts, I'm thinking, all right, social media, newsletter, shout out, newsletter coming soon. You know, all of these things that tie together, YouTube videos, and then I, you know, think about marketing, you know, and more like the technical things that I do for a living with advertising on social media and doing, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of helped me look at everything from a holistic view and just kind of owning your brand, like just owning it. All the guys that I mentioned are just like, I own who I am and I'm sure of who I am and just go with it, you know. So that would probably be my Mount Rushmore. Gerry Rice, 50 Cent, Kanye West, and Tom Brady. Quite a bunch.
That's a
when you listen to
range.
the reasons, you know what I mean?
Range.
They actually make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's a range, man. That's a good top four. So my top four, I'm sure you guys already know. Who's listening? Who knows me? Like you know. So Pharrell Williams, that's one of mine. I respect Pharrell because he's one of the first ones to teach me personally or give me the confidence to wear what you truly want to wear. And it's cool to be like smart and nerdy Like that's a cool thing. It's nothing.
Right.
It's nothing wrong with that. And then the way he actually like the process of how he actually makes music and beats. It just I fell in love with it. Like when I listen to his actual music, still to this day, it just speaks to me. Where it puts me in a good mood. I never listen to like a Pharrell song and I've been sad or like dang like in a bad mood afterwards.
Right.
I've always been extremely happy, which caused me to want to create or want to wear this or want to wear these. So Pharrell, I loved him as well because during that phase I was very colorful. You remember this too? Had the ice cream sneakers. I was like a fucking rainbow.
I mean, I love Pharrell too. We were all in that.
Just that time to say what I want to say at all times. And then fashion, of course. I ain't about to like get on that. Y'all know Kanye's one of the goats like when it comes to fashion. And so that's why I loved him, because he always spoke his mind and he was taught that from a young age, which is very fucking dope. So like those two definitely. And then Malcolm X is on my Mount Rushmore as well, because during that time frame he was going through a lot of shit, and most people don't know that he was a knucklehead coming up. Like he was a pimp, like pimping females, all this crazy shit. He didn't change until he actually like went to jail, and then it's when he got converted and started getting religious, and then joined the Nation of Islam and changed his life around. But the thing I love about Malcolm X is he truly tried to educate our people and empower our people to be great, like to be better. Yeah, of course he had his militant side, which everybody just remembers him as being militant and like shooting people and hating white people. But nah, like that was a part of him when he was younger, like coming up. But when he actually visited the motherland and went on the pilgrimage, he came back like a different man. Like he loved like every color. He wanted to actually like collaborate with different people of different like races, like white, this and that. And then he got assassinated, of course, which it sucked. I don't even want to get into that, but that's why I loved him, man, because he was just always loved being black and loved him. Like you got to embrace that, regardless of like what we're going through. And I want to educate my people that it's a better life out here. So that's why I love Malcolm. And then last but not least, LeBron James, man, one of the greatest to ever do it. And I love LeBron because he's such a positive dude. And he's like what we said, that do your job. He's been doing this job for a very fucking long time and doing it well.
Many jobs.
He's never been in any scandals. Like, when have you ever heard, LeBron cheated, LeBron did this, LeBron did that?
LeBron is one of those. He tries to do other jobs too, though. He does.
I mean, he
does
does,
a lot
but
of jobs. He wears a lot of hats, but
he's also great at a lot of things
focused
too, though. Right? He's focused, and also he's a family man. He's a good dad. You see his interactions. I'm sure he's not perfect, of course, but being a black man, we strive to be great fathers as well, because we get that stigma of, damn, our dads are never around, this and that, and he's changing that. And also education. Like he actually built a school for like in the bad areas for kids to go to and get a higher learning. And
his
so
community impact is
so everything that he
ridiculous.
does is just dope, bro. Like all the way around, like a great basketball player, family man, just like a good dude. Like I would want to hang out with him.
He'd be a cool hang.
Yeah, and then even like when I was little and shit, like high school, I used to have my LeBron like units, like the whole units. You know what I'm saying? Like the shoes, the jumps, like everything. Like LeBron is great, man. I can't say anything negative about him. That's why even though he's with the Lakers right now, I still root for him, of course.
Yeah, it's weird.
He's one of those players I still always root for, regardless of what team he's on.
I was mad when he went to the Heat. I wanted him to either get no rings or a lot of rings. So once he won the first one, then I was like, all right, man, you can get a couple more.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my Mount Rushmore. That's my four influence, like people that influenced me like over the years.
We want to hear y'all's Mount Rushmore. So if you have any four, even just one, shout us out. Let us know either on Instagram or Twitter at therep.network. You can also email us at repertoirenetwork.com. And hey, guess what? Or actually, no, sorry. repertoirenetwork at gmail.com. And guess what? We have a website now.
We do have a website.
That is a big announcement. I can't believe that I've kind of buried the lead. We have a website, and it is therep.network. No .com, no, .net, just therep.network. You can go there to follow or to find all of our links. There's an auto player on there for the podcast. That's where we're also going to start plugging some stuff from YouTube, trying to get a little bit more video content. Just wanted to make sure that I got all of our plugs out there. Shout us out.
Yep, and also, guys, we'll be having a giveaway of 3 T-shirts coming really, really soon. So that's something I'm excited about as well. So we're going to give you more updates on how you can enter to win. But you got to be subscribed to us. You have to follow us on Instagram at therep.network. At therep.network once again. And yeah, so just stay tuned. So we'll tell you guys how you can actually enter the contest to win.
And before we go, we do actually always want y'all to. The funny part of the podcast is it's called Don't At Me, but we actually want y'all to add us. Maybe we should have thought about that a little bit better.
No, that's all good.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We love it. It fits. But we do want your questions or things that you want to hear us talk about. We've recently had we had a full-on Q&A episode. If you didn't hear it, that was one of my favorite ones recording. I think people need to go back and listen if they haven't.
Yeah, listen to the episode, guys. We get some great perspectives on what people want us to talk about, and Angel joined as well and gave a perspective from a woman's view, which is pretty cool.
It was like a hidden track. It's after all the exits.
It's
stuff.
after,
you have
so
to listen.
just like Pharrell with the hidden tracks. That's why I love them too.
Yeah, see, me too.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that we had was regarding CBD.
So first, the latest asking the questions, actually, her name is Janelle. So Janelle wants to know more about CBD oil and the effects of that.
So, I mean, I know a fair amount about some of this, but not a ton. Now, for those familiar or unfamiliar, THC is the psychoactive component in marijuana. That's the one that gets you high. That's the one that makes you, kind of trippy, see shit, act giggly, or whatever. Euphoric, all of that. Whatever the effects you want to really think that kind of make your personality change, right?
Right.
CBD is the non-psychoactive component that is the relaxing part. People can use that for pain relief. They can use that to just kind of mellow out. Some people use it for anxiety. Now,
I don't know if you guys are aware, but CBD is infused in a lot of things nowadays as well.
Oh, yeah.
For that, to help you relax and just gives great health benefits in that realm.
At this point, just like just like many multivitamins or any kind of supplements, there's a lot that is not known. There are, plenty of tests that have been done, but a lot of it's inconclusive. They haven't been able to really prove why people benefit from it. They haven't really been able to prove what any negative side effects could be. Right now, it seems like there are none, but obviously, we all know some things can't be so good that they're
too
not
much of everything
too good to be
is
true.
bad.
Just is it honestly usually is too good to be true.
And also, too much of anything in life is bad.
Yes,
like whatever it is.
So the negatives haven't been discovered yet. Does that mean that there are no negatives? Not necessarily. Maybe there are no negatives. That could be the case, but there really isn't just enough to know about it yet. But the other part of that is, it's non-psychoactive, so you can buy it in many places, but it's very difficult to isolate it from THC. So you'll see most places that you purchase CBD products will say, what does it say, like NDA or something like that, like non-detectable amount of or ND-THC, like not a detectable amount, right? So it's not enough that you're going to get any kind of high, but you got to be careful where you buy from, because if your company tests for THC, if you're consuming a lot of those CBD products, even though they're trace amounts of THC, they could add up to where it would show.
Right.
You're not going to feel high. And again, I'm no expert on any of this, but this is just based on what I'm pretty sure I got the shit down.
It's like based on just research that we're no experts, but we research a lot of stuff. You read, I read.
So if y'all have any other questions, hopefully we answered enough. I definitely think there's benefits to it. I think it's a way better alternative than any kind of anxiety medications that
for sure
get you messed up with bad side effects. And again, let me disclaimer: we are not medical professionals, so we don't know for sure, but we're going off of what we've read. So don't take us for gospel, but pretty sure I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, at least on this. Not with everything. Facts. Sometimes I'm speaking nonsense, but anyway, that'll round out this week's episode of Don't At Me. Hopefully you all liked the new format. Like I said, follow us on social media at the Rep Network. That's Twitter and Instagram. The website, therep.network. Then also make sure you are subscribed, following, whatever you have to do where you listen to your podcast, rate, review, and please tell your friends, family, grandma. Maybe she'll say don't at us and she'll want a t-shirt too.
Yeah, spread the word. Always.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Hey, hold on real quick. Hold on. Pause.